Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brooks with Mind Brewing Tutoring Company, and today we're going to be talking about factoring quadratics with the difference of two squares. This is the second part of a two-part series. If you haven't watched the first video on factoring quadratic equations, watch the first 3 minutes or so, kind of gives you an overview of what we're going to be talking about. And there's going to be a link in the description. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, notification bell, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot, and we really appreciate it. So let's get into the video. Let's say we had x plus 3 times x minus 3. Let's say we had the quantity x plus 3 times x minus 3. If we use the FOIL method to multiply these two quantities together, we end up with x times x is x squared, x times negative 3 is negative 3x, 3 times x is positive 3x, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Then we're going to add those two quantities together, and combining like terms, we end up with x squared, and then something weird happens with the x terms. They cancel each other out, and you're left with just negative 9. So why did these two quantities cancel each other out? Take just a couple of minutes and think about it. So pause the video. Why did the two quantities in the middle cancel each other out? So if we look at the 3x and negative 3x, they cancel each other out because one is positive and one is negative. And we can tell that if you look back at the original factored terms, we can see we got x plus 3, x minus 3. That means that no matter what those numbers were, let's say we had x plus 5, x minus 5. Since both of those are 5s, when we FOIL them out, we can tell that those middle terms would cancel, right? So you'd have 5x and negative 5x. So this brings us to factoring with the difference of two squares. If you have a polynomial with two squares that are being subtracted, and here's what I mean by that. If you have x squared minus, because here's the deal, it's difference, right? You have x squared minus a perfect square. So what are the perfect squares? Those are going to be 1, 4, 9, 25, 36. These are the numbers that it's like, for example, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. Those are those perfect squares, right? And so if you have x squared minus a perfect square, that factors to x plus a square root, x minus a square root. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have x squared minus 81. Let's say we have x squared minus 81. Okay, so if I wanted to factor this, I could say x plus, well, what's the square root of 81? It's 9. So I can go x plus 9, x minus 9. Remember, the reason we can say this is because the middle terms will do what? Absolutely cancel out, right? Those middle terms, you'll have plus 9x, minus 9x. They will cancel out, and you're just going to be left with x squared minus 81. Let's do another example. Let's say you have x squared minus 25. All right, x squared minus 25, kind of going back to that problem. You're going to have x plus 5 times x minus 5, because remember, the middle terms will cancel out, and your two outer terms will become negative 25. Your two first terms will become x squared. Let's do one more. Let's say we have x squared minus 16. So how do we do this? First of all, we have to think, what is the square root of 16? Well, it's 4. So we're going to have x plus 4 times x minus 4. It's really that simple. Let's do something a little bit more challenging. Let's say we had x squared minus 196. Let's say we had x squared minus 196. Well, what's the square root of 196? That's going to be 14. So you're going to have x plus 14 times x minus 14. Let's do one more example. Let's say that we had x squared minus 225y squared. Okay, now we're getting really big. Kind of seems like it's, it might be a little confusing, but no, actually, it's really not that bad. X squared minus 225y squared. Well, what's the square root of 225? 15. And what's the square root of y squared? Just y. So you would have x plus 15y times x minus 15y. The last one we're going to do is we had x to the fourth minus 81. X to the fourth minus 81. And we're going to break this down all the way. So once again, we still have a difference of two squares. Remember, this does not work if you have a sum of two squares. That's another video, right? So if you have a difference, in other words, you're subtracting these two numbers, that's when this trick works. So if you have x to the fourth minus 81, what we're going to do is we could break that down. What's the square root of x to the fourth? Well, it's x squared, right? Because x squared times x squared gives you x to the fourth. So we're going to say x squared plus 9 times x squared minus 9. But check this out. We have a second difference of two squares. So we can break that x squared minus 9 down to be x plus 3, x minus 3. So the total answer to this problem, completely broken down, is going to be x squared plus 9 times x plus 3 times x minus 3. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really helps out the channel a lot. We hope that you enjoyed this video and looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.